Amazon has done it again. No, I'm not talking about sending a penis-shaped rocket into space. I'm talking about taking products that we've already seen and repackaging them as Amazon exclusives. Yes, I am talking about the Bumblebee and Starscream 2-pack. That is an Amazon exclusive, which is basically repackaging of the Cyber Battalion figures. And Sky here is concerned about this as well. But regardless, I'm gonna go through these guys. You may or may not have them already. It's not a bad set. And there may be a bonus figure showing up later on for comparison purposes. Whoa! Alrighty, be right back. So yes, Amazon has already done this with Optimus Prime and Megatron. You don't like Starscream, what's wrong with you? Oh, well, I apparently don't like Bumblebee. They already did this with a Megatron Optimus 2-pack, which is basically the Cyber Battalion versions. And really what those are upscaled versions of small Legends figures, which are kind of cool. The transformations are kind of simple, but I'm gonna go through these guys and we're going to see if there might be worth getting for your collection. So Starscream, you can wait over here. King Starscream. I know you're not a coward, shut up. And we're gonna go over Bumblebee. So Bumblebee in robot mode, as you can see here. Now, you've already probably figured out he doesn't become a Volkswagen. But what kind of posability does this guy have? So his arms can go back and forth. Ta-da. Can go off to the side. He's got a pretty good amount of posability in his arms, though he's got a lot of kibble with the doors pretty much hanging off his bottom part of his arms. He bends at the elbows, which takes him out of this, I don't know, could it be a shield? And his head turns, yay. He does not twist at the waist, and his legs do not bend at the knees, but he can kick forward, he can kick with both legs. He can actually do, though you gotta get the arms out of the way, they're kind of clunky. He can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. There he is, in all his glory. And he does not come with a weapon. So putting him up against Starscream without a weapon, Optimus might be able to handle it, but I don't think Bumblebee could. But there he is. Not a bad looking figure. He's got the nice Bumblebee classic head and nice Autobot symbol right there in the front. And headlights. Nice headlights. Okay, that didn't sound right. All right, so before we go on to vehicle mode, let's take a look at Starscream. So here's Starscream. This is again the Cyber Battalion version, and he is pretty posable. His arms can go in a variety of directions. He does have weapons, so he can point them out to the side. It's interesting because the hole that holds the weapons, which he can hold it in his hand as well, is in his shoulder, which there are allowances so that he can point out to the side if he wants to. So it's designed to allow his weapons to stay in place, even when you're moving the arms around. He bends at the elbow, the arms go forward, the head turns, and the knees look like they should, but they do not bend. They do. No, there's actually, it's molded to look like they should bend, but they don't. So he can again go forward. There's some ratcheting noise when you do that. And he can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme, even a toes up one. But he's not a bad looking representation of the character. Posability is a little bit lacking. He does not twist at the waist, anything like that. And Sky really seems to like him, so. Go away, feline! Okay, that was one of the worst Starscream impressions ever. But he's a cool looking toy. You can see him from the back here. His wings flip up. He looks like the classic Starscream. His wings do have some articulation where you can bend them back if you want. I don't know why you'd want to do that, because it looks better with them out. And let me fix his foot and his nose cone. Oh, I'm sorry, I mistransformed because you gotta flip the nose cone up and there it goes. That looks much better. I'm so sorry. Just pretend I did that from the beginning. But not a bad figure. Let's check out the vehicle modes, starting with Bumblebee. So Bumblebee's transformation is kind of simplistic, as you might imagine. I'm not saying it's not clever, but it is kind of simplistic. Real simple, real easy. Now he rolls, and Sky seems fascinated. So he's a sports car. No real movement on the sports car, other than the wheels, other than vroom vroom. See, Sky, you like? Hee hee. I mean, he's got some nice detailing as far as the racing stripes, blue windows, big ass wheels, but a rather simple toy car. All right, let's get to Starscream. His transformation is a little more complex. We are gonna take off the weapons, put them aside, and flip out his nose cone. He does have a landing gear, which is interesting, which you can hide when he's flying, because you know he's not landing, he's flying. Now the interesting thing about his transformation is his arms kind of pop out and hide underneath, which is nice. And with these guys, a lot of the parts kind of pop into place. So he's got, on the underside of his wings, he's got these little posts, and the arm actually sticks on there, so it stays into place. These flip up, right? Good. And he does have, now you could still put the weapons into his shoulder area, or you could put them under the wings. And there you go. His wings do that thing, but I don't know why they would do that. You know, I couldn't see that as being a good thing, flying at Mach 2.5 or whatever. But handsome jet. Now when you look at the bottom, you can see his face, so it's kind of kibbly. I mean, same thing with Bumblebee. You can see the faces if you look underneath. Are you having fun, Sky? Now his knees have these little wheel things as part of his landing gear. So when you put him down, you know, he's not leaning back or anything like that. So it's a pretty stable landing posture if you want to keep him in his vehicle mode. Now, someone did say, hey, you know, these are all over the place overseas. And that's true. Here's our bonus figure. Hey, does he look familiar? He is Starscream. Now this is a version of Starscream that is again based on the Cyber Battalion. He is a knockoff, and I love his coloration though. He's got darker blue, darker gray. The only thing I don't like about him is, you know, he just almost fell, but I don't like the color of the weapons. The color of the weapons is kind of meh. Orange, really? I mean, if I took those black guns, put them on him, he'd look perfect. I might do that. But one of the principal differences, he's got all the same posability, obviously, because he's the same mold, but his main body here is actually die cast. So I'm not saying don't get the Amazon ones, because they're kind of cool. But some of these knockoffs, I mean, die cast chest, die cast metal in the upper thighs. I mean, there is some plastic, but this one just, it's heavier, more substantial. And the colors on this one, I'll put a link to this guy if he's still available, because I got him quite some time ago. But I'll put a link to this guy on AliExpress. And again, he's a very cool version of the toy as well. And he's just, again, a little more substantial because of the die cast metal. What's interesting is his lower legs, instead of being this gray, are black. And his tail fins, instead of being the same blue, are actually, well, the side, I don't know what they call these types of wings, but they're black on this one. And darker blue on these tail fins. He's also interesting in that instead of having the orange cockpit, which is kind of classic, his cockpit is black. So he looks like a more badass version of Starscream. He's got the dark nose cone, same ability to put those hands, which of course you can kind of see on the top when he's in vehicle mode, but lock those into place. And of course you can put the orange weapons on, or we can switch it for the black. Let's see how that looks. I bet it looks awesome. I think that is a fine looking version of a more sinister Starscream. Sky, are you looking at the camera? Looking at the display, which is facing me on the camera, and seems to be like, what is all that motion? So there you have it. We have the Amazon 2-pack, which I think is a pretty cool set, which normally go for $27.99 for the set, which compared to the Walgreens prices isn't bad. I think they were like 15 a piece. So a slight savings, and right now it looks like they're like 8% off, so it's like 25 something. Not a huge savings, but savings is savings. But there you have the two Starscreams side by side. We have the Bumblebee, and again, I'll put a link for this one through AliExpress. I forget exactly how much he was, but pretty inexpensive and die cast. I think they're all cool to have in your collection. I suppose we should put your landing gear out, right? There we go. But they're very cool toys. Should definitely check them out. But if they're not for you because of the simplicity, I totally get it. But while you're thinking about that, you know, you could check out some of our other videos over here. There's a subscribe button down there. And if you'd like to support the channel with a super thanks, that would be awesome and much appreciated. It costs money to feed this cat. And of course, like, share, all the stuff. We'll see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.